Hello everyone. Hope you're doing great. This is Motorsport Progression, and I'm back again with another video. So I just want to talk about the 2025 Bahrain Grand Prix that's ongoing this weekend, and what happened in the free practice 2 session. So you have the free practice 2 session. So all the drivers that missed the free practice 1, for the rookies, they came back in, Fernando Alonso, Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, and yeah, and other a couple of what's his name again, Esteban Ocon, and them kind of drivers there. So they got the seat back, to drive in FP2, so they can at least do some qualifying and race simulations. So Charles Leclerc, yeah, at the start of the session, he had a lockup at turn 10. So did Max Verstappen. And turn 10 is a quite difficult corner. It's like you're driving downhill, but you're trail braking into a left turn onto like a mini straight. So it's one of the beautiful corners, but you just have to get it right. If you don't get it right, you will go off, like what happened to George Russell, later in the session where he went off. So from there, Fernando Alonso had a little bit of a unfortunate situation where his steering wheel came off. That's one of the only times I've seen someone's steering wheel come off. That's very, very dangerous. It basically came off, and he had to put it back on, to find the steering, or the car was just going straight. So that was dangerous there. So Alonso, radioed into Aston Martin and asked them, to change the steering wheel, and then Lando Norris also asked for a new helmet, and he asked for a new hands device, and also he wanted the team to clean his headrest. Only he knows what was going on there, and there was also a lockup for Lando at turn 10, and the same corner that Charles locked up at and Max locked up at, and so to me it looks like the drivers are just getting used to these cars, breaking into turn 10. And Lando was also deep at turn 1. And so was Oscar Piastri and Alexander Albon. So, there's a couple of problems at turn 1 and turn 10 where the drivers are just getting used to the braking zones. Turn 1 is a heavy braking zone, and turn 10, I would say, is a heavy braking zone because you brake all the way down and then you pick up the pace again. You know what I'm saying? And then you had George Russell. He was off at turn 10 as well. He had to spin around, to save the car. So as again, another driver that, had a lockup at turn 10. And looking at turn 4 as well, the legendary turn 4, Russell was close to the gravel. So was Norris. He kicked up some, gravel a little bit, and then Nico Hulkenberg as well, he was wide at turn 4, kicking up a little bit of gravel onto the track. And then Nico Hulkenberg, from the radio communications to his team, the Kick Sauber team, he said that the last corner was confusing because, he went wide, he went wide, and he's like, yo, the last corner is confusing, because he's driven that track many times. And he didn't find it that confusing, so he was wondering why is it so difficult to make this corner swiftly. So he radioed in there, and then Lewis Hamilton as well was off at turn 4, but he had an okay session. So let me just bring you the results of free practice 2 for the Bahrain Grand Prix. So in free practice 1, Lando was the quickest. He topped the times. And in free practice 2, okay, let's check out what happened. So in first position, you had Oscar Piastri in the McLaren with a 1:35.05, and he done 29 laps. In second position, you had Lando Norris in the McLaren, and he was 0.154 seconds off with 28 laps. Then in third position, you had George Russell. He was about 5 tenths off. He had 25 laps. In fourth position, you had Charles Leclerc, who was just about 5.5 tenths off. We done 27 laps. In fifth position, you had Kimi Antonelli. He was about 7 tenths off, and he managed to get 27 laps under his belt. Because I remember in free practice one, he only had 3 laps. And in sixth position, you had Isaac Hadjar in the Racing Bulls. He was about 7 tenths off. And seventh position, you had Max Verstappen. He was about 8 tenths off with 27 laps. And in eighth position, you had Lewis Hamilton. He was about a second off with 23 laps. So, Lewis probably was on a race simulation as well, but he'll be looking for some more pace from there. In ninth position, you got Oliver Behrman in the Haas. He was about a second off. Then in 10th position, you had Carlos Sainz in the Williams. In 11th position, you had Alexander Albon in the Williams. In 12th position, you had Liam Lawson in the Racing Bull. And then in 13th position, you had Gabriel Bortoleto in the Kick Sauber. In 14th position, you had Jack Doohan in the Alpine. In 15th position, you had Fernando Alonso in the Aston Martin. In 16th position, you had Esteban Ocon in the Haas. In 17th position, you had Pierre Gasly in the Alpine. In 18th position, you had Yuki Tsunoda in the Red Bull. And he was 1.5 seconds off with 24 laps. So it looks like Red Bull are struggling a little bit. And I saw Max Verstappen coming out and saying that Red Bull are too slow for this weekend. But that's what they had problems in the 3 practice sessions in Japan, and then he ended up putting on pole position. So you can, never really tell until qualifying, which is today, later on today. Then in 19th position, you had Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin. He was 1.877 seconds off, and he completed 27 laps. So Stroll will be looking for some more pace in free practice 3 as well. And in 20th position, had Nico Hulkenberg in the Kick Sauber. He was 1.991 seconds off with 24 laps. But I'm sure he might not have gotten a quick lap in. And also he was on some race simulations as well. So yeah, peeps, this is the top 20 for the Bahrain Grand Prix Practice 2 classifications. I just want to say to everyone, thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. And also, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you get notified of any new uploads. Like the video as well. That helps a lot. And then you can comment on the video if you got any comments, about the free practice 2 session. And if you got any questions about Formula 1 in general, you can ask me and I'll answer you back. And then you can also share the video on your various social media platforms, so the fans and other people can get the knowledge as well and can know the channel. And also you can click on another video because there's more content on the channel that you can learn from. And you can also, come back on the channel to check out more content. So yeah, peeps, I'm just gonna wrap it up here. I just want to say to everyone, thank you for your support, and the next video should be the free practice 3 session for the Bahrain Grand Prix. So yeah, I'm on to the next one. Bless.